time.
Because I did. If you guys haven't, while we're just sitting here in the pre-show, and I make up the tweet. What Will sent something to the group from TikTok that if you guys haven't watched, I'd like you to go watch and give me your thoughts on the conspiracy theory that's in that video.
We do it right now.
There was another one I sent you too.
And, I know.
I didn't.
But this one I know is definitely going to get a reaction from the group. Whereas, Rick, you gonna go watch it?
Hold that thought.
I'm going to rewatch it because of how fucking good it is.
Because I was gonna wait, but
I forgot, honestly.
No, we're on the pre-show. Watch it. I want to know what you guys think about it.
Ride? The Manson Ride? Is that the
one? No. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever Will sent. It was a TikTok that he just
Masonite.
An hour ago.
Masonite? Okay.
I also like how Matt will nudge me and be like, hey, send this to everybody. Because he knows my high ass won't think about it.
I just knew you guys would enjoy this.
Reek just followed me on TikTok, y'all. I'm famous.
Of course, and he was in a jumpsuit, not red, and he came home one day and instead of walking up for delivering a cinder, I mean, exactly different. Only talks and grunts, just like the Tyler. There's so much proof. It's a separate movie. It goes deeper, literally. The series of tunnels revealed to be under Mike Myers' childhood home in Halloween Resurrection, just like the tunnels in who's to say Michael is a well-behaved kid on that Halloween night, didn't go to his basement, just got replaced by a tethered version of himself. Are you reading too much into it a little bit? You know what, though? That being said, the tunnels and Halloween Resurrection, all the plotline in the early movies is a little bit different, with different sister and familiar bonds in the later movies, but that's not saying the difference in plotline means there still isn't tunnels under Michael's house. And you know what's a fun idea? If you have a couple, say, hours to spare, we can go even deeper with some of the Dr. Loomis references in Halloween. He tracks Michael using matchboxes called Rabbit and Red. And Loomis sense describes Michael as not having a soul, which I mean, kind of matches with us. It's, you know what? That's okay. Maybe I'll check out Cabin in the Woods. That one, right? Another great choice. Very fair. Especially with Kurt being in it. So.
What? Yo.
You might surprise you. This is not the first time I've heard that theory.
Really?
That Michael's a tethered?
Yep. Don't remember where, but I definitely recall somebody like going into detail about this and us and everything like that. But I've definitely heard this before.
I muted myself because I was coughing.
And it makes sense if you really think about it. I like it better than Part 6.
The hate you have for Part 6 is unbearable.
I don't have hate for 6. The movie was great. The concept to me was fucking stupid.
I mean, it's the best movie in the franchise. Neither here nor there.
The Halloween franchise?
I like the movie. I
Yes.
don't like the concept.
One of my favorite conversations from that was when Ritter and I did Michael versus Michael. And we talked about 6, but we also talked about how 3, if you took the Halloween away from it, would be a great horror movie on its own without it being a Halloween movie. If you just took away the fact that it was called Halloween 3.
I've been making that case for years.
That was one of that. That's always a reference point. I brought that up with my sister in a conversation about it. And Ritter's always dropped a lot of knowledge bombs like that in past episodes.
That was the movie that like every time like there's a marathon, October and Fear Fest comes on, it's like I would skip it because I heard the whole thing like, oh, there's no Michael in it. But then you sit there, you just watch it and just kind of tune out all the extra, the walls of it. Like this is actually pretty good for the 80s, for it to be a different concept and not the rinse repeat that they were doing with everything else. It's like this was actually good.
That would explain why I saw that tweet about botch spots and chair shots with me and Matt.
You're fucking stupid.
Yes.
I was like,
welcome back to the conversation.
I was like, yo, retweet.
He retweeted it, not knowing he was in the fucking episode. God,
I'm like,
fucking
oh,
damn it,
that's like
Justin.
from like 5 days ago. But
Hey,
I'm
hey,
just gonna say I was
Just.
on that episode.
Bro, I want to stall you out and say players fuck up, but this was not a player moment, bro.
Now, see, in my defense, I didn't even pay attention I was tagged in it because Will tags me in pretty much all of his stuff, and I am just a serial reposter. So everything that I get
Yes,
tagged in or
same.
gets submitted to the repost groups,
Yes.
I just like and repost, like and repost, like and
Yeah.
repost.
Wow, so that's where I am in your life, Ritter. I'm just a like and repost.
Wow. the
No
truth
lie. I mean, if
comes
it's-
That's
out.
live 5:42. I'm time stamping that. I'm just a like and a repost in Matt Ritter's life.
No
ladies
lie,
and
me
gentlemen.
and Matt have the same like algorithm when it comes to retweet from all of our homies. Like, okay, whatever you put out, I'm just gonna help you out. Put the retweet, quote, retweet, whatever.
Yeah.
Everything botch bots and chair shots is
So-
a mandatory like and repost to boost the signal. Will
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's it do, Matt?
it helps the algorithm so that more people find us?
Exactly.
He said us.
Well, I'll be on the show, so yes, us.
Yeah. Us. The collective us. We.
Yes.
The collective.
tethered.
we. We're all tethered, whether we want to be or not for some reason.
I couldn't be tethered. I talk way too fucking much. You guys are ready? We'll run the intro.
Just be
Tank top
slow.
squad right now.
Yeah,
Dude,
Will, where's the
top-
tank top?
I don't think I own a tank top now that we say
Make a
that out
tank
loud.
top. Roll up the sleeves. I bully people on the show now.
My fucking farmer's tan. Good old boy as fuck.
I'm gonna need like 3 seconds of silence before I run the intro because Travis gets mad at me if there's like talking right as it starts.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 horror podcast on Pornhub. Getting off. I am your host, the patron saint of podcasting, and boy, are you in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen, because not only is the core four here, Miss Katie Kinsey Bay, host of the Sheely Showcase Inside the Mind of In the Crowd and Storytime with Miss Katie Kinsey Bay. Reek, what are sunshine through the revolving door at the mall and some what are the other things? Rookie of the year. You're her advocate.
The sun around which all podcasts must orbit. That's how it goes.
He gets it.
I do not partake, but I appreciate the Will does. I appreciate the offer.
That's Will's job.
Also, here, ladies and gentlemen, the advocate for Miss Katie Kinsey Bay, the only BBC with a PhD, Dr. Reek Baker, BBC, one half of Young Kings Wrestling, host of the Havoc Hour, and the man behind the episode this week, joining us after a long hiatus. And it's been a little bit of a hiatus for us. Katie went on vacation, and I need her here. She's been on every episode. She won't let me do one without her. But back, my favorite Filipino, part of Marks with Mikes, Lechon Diaries, and the man behind the Get Yo podcast. It's your boy Juss.
Can I get a oh yeah?
No.
And of course, if we're the core four, he is our Gale Weathers. Ladies and gentlemen, purveyor of Rivet City Radio, a chef by trade, a mark by choice, host of Botch Spots and Chair Shots, the Will Gray. You're muted, Will.
You're muted, Will.
You got muted.
I'm glad to be here in the presence of greatness.
Maybe you don't need that bomb. So I realized something. We were running the intro. It's fire again, always at Heel Tactics _ if you need music for your podcast, because everyone you are looking at here, all of their banger intros are done by that man.
Facts.
Sure.
You got a doorway right here, and hanging in that doorway is my getting off plaque. It's a banner. It's you walk through it. It's split down the middle. It's a doorway entrance, but right above that it says "Welcome to Haddonfield," and I believe that going forward, instead of saying that I'm from Chicago, because technically I'm not. I'm from the outskirts. I'm from Chicagoland area, the suburbs. I'm just gonna say I'm from Haddonfield, Illinois. I'm booking myself from Haddonfield going forward, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Pop off.
Here for it.
Go ahead.
Reek, this is your brainchild. You've been cooking in the kitchen. Why don't you explain to everyone what we are doing here today?
So, as I broke down to my people, I have moments of creative bursts every now and then. Sometimes, I'm in the shower. Sometimes when I get a long drive. Had a long drive, and I forget which episode of one of the shows on YouTube I was listening to. It might have been Dead Meat, might have been CZ's World, but it got me thinking about different eras and how the slasher genre kind of elevated from one singular movie and then from one icon to another, and I kind of thought about each one of those big movies that came out. So I broke it down to 5. Went from Halloween, Psycho, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And obviously, if I'm thinking about that, I got to talk to my core 4 people about it. So I said, what the hell? Let's get on here and let's break those movies down, rank them individually where we see them, and we can have a nice chat about it.
All right. First off, I know Juss and I were kind of on the same boat, because when you posted that, he commented, "Don't be mad at me for putting what was it, Killer Clowns from Outer Space in my top 5."
Yeah.
So originally, I thought the idea was going to be that we picked our top 5 essential slashers that we think people need to watch or whatever, and that was the original list. And then we didn't sweaty session this bitch. We made sure we all knew what the fuck we were doing when we came in here. But also, always way more fun to just sweaty session this bitch. However,
you can make that an honorable mention if you want.
Well, I was going to say, depending on how long the episode runs and how much we debate and discuss and argue, maybe at the end of the show, we can each put down what we think are the top 5 best slashers in our personal opinion, and discuss that a little bit. However, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go one by one, person by person, they give their top 5, or do you want to start with one and we all just give our number 1? Even though I am fairly certain we all have the same number 1, we will see and debate, and then just go down the line. We'll do 1, we'll all talk about 1, and then we'll give our 2s. We'll go back and forth as to why we have 2, or do you just want to go 1 through 5, then round table that?
We'll go through the list, each person, just straight on down, and then we just kind of rotate a little bit.
All right, so one person's going to go and give their 5. That's what you want to do? Okay.
Yep.
You want to kick us off then, Sunshine?
Sure.
Sunshine.
We will. We'll see if we all have the same number 1. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I had this completely panned out, and then I changed it going into today at least 3 times. So at number 5, it changed a couple times, but I'm sticking with Friday the 13th at number 5. Probably the one that kind of was Paramount's answer to Halloween and Michael Myers and the whole boogeyman is situation. But I mean, for the time, it was something different, and the concept was very who done it, because it's a lot of POV going on, and this was probably the only one out of the group that didn't have the I guess main slasher / villain going on here, the recognizable face, because you find out towards the end that it's Mrs. Voorhees. It's not an actual person or monster or something like that. But it's just, if the problem here is that you've got all winners, so it's somebody's got to take that last spot. So I go with Friday 13th there. At number 4, I'm going Nightmare on Elm Street. By the time 84 rolled around, we had gotten the genre, the slasher formula down pat. So this was something that was kind of a departure from whatever else we had seen, because you've got a person who is not living anymore, but he's existing in your dreams, and it's playing on a whole bunch of different fears, going to bed at night, all that stuff. But iconic in the role is Robert Englund, the face, the name, the jingle, all that good stuff. But yeah, Wes Craven's magnum opus by far. So number 3, this is where it starts getting tricky for me, because I changed this a whole bunch of times too. I'm going Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Should get way more respect than it does, because at the end of the day, this came 4 years before Halloween, and it was just, in a sense, it was just unnerving. It was one of those things, like one of those movies that you just kind of you sit there and there's a feeling of it's unsettling for a while, but it doesn't really ramp up until midway through the movie, close towards the end, and then you've got a whole lot of madness ensuing, right? But I mean, the whole Leatherface and the family of cannibals, the chainsaw, the film style, all of it was just something so out of left field. I know a lot of people prefer the sequels or the reboot, stuff like that. I always keep this like 1A, 1B with the reboot, because it's just me. I just preferred it that way. Number 2, I'm going Halloween here. I wanted to give it number 1 really bad, but I mean, I got my reasons. It's my favorite out of the group personally, but if I'm doing this in terms of the essential ones, this kind of follows, it's following something else. Jamie Lee Curtis making her, first feature, essentially, kind of cutting her teeth in the slasher genre. And, you have now the first actual recognizable slasher in the genre in Michael Myers. And this whole, the POV shooting and the music, the score from John Carpenter, all on the shoestring budget that they had. I mean, they just came in here and just threw together something that wasn't supposed to be huge. And you watch any documentary, it'll tell you that initially it wasn't huge, but it just grew and continued to grow. And now we have a franchise out of it that has gone in so many different directions that we lost count. And then, of course, number 1 is Psycho. It's hard not to put it there, because I mean, Hitchcock, number 1, and number 2, like, it's just like it's a study in psychology, basically. Norman Bates and this the dissociative the personality disorder that he's got going on, the weird connection to his mother. It's all based off of real life events, just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was. And then we got introduced to the concept of a scream queen in this movie, Janet Leigh, the infamous shower scene, all of that coming together. This set the bar for not just horror, but the slasher genre that would follow years to come.
So, where do I start? I'm gonna let everyone else go first. I'm gonna give my list last. However, before we do that, I did let everyone on Twitter know that if they submitted their top 5 to us, I'd shout them out. And one that's kind of close to Reek's came from Back to the Ring. They got Friday at number 5, Nightmare at number 4, Psycho at number 3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 2, and Halloween at number 1. Now, I said we were all going to have the same number 1, and then like he's trying to, use a clone of Willie, he just broke the mold from what I expected this to be right off the bat. So, who would like to go next? Anyone? Any one of you three.
Go ahead, Jess.
So wait, what? So is it our own, or we're going through the top 5 that was on the list?
You do not read DMs. You are ranking the 5 on the list 1 through 5. So if you want to wait and figure that out, Will, you're up.
The 5 that were on the list that he just gave us.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because I guess I misunderstood, but I can
Katie,
feed
you're up.
I can go next. I pay attention. I wasn't home and I understood the memo, guys.
No. I have whole lists and notes because my understanding was it started out we were picking our favorite slashers and then it switched to the series.
Okay, no. So we're gonna go behind the we're breaking the fourth wall here. In our group chat.
Okay.
Where did we go? Where did it? I know
because I felt prepared for the first time. I thought I was going to be able to hang with the core 4, and apparently I didn't do my fucking homework right.
Well, all right. Just to make it simple, what I was saying was out of that group of slashers, out of those 5 movies, not the franchises themselves, but the individual movies, how you'd rank the top 5, or how you'd rank them if you had to make them a top 5.
I found it. So Thursday, 2 days ago, I said, okay, Reek, lay down the rules for Saturday. What's the cutoff for classics? Because like I said, I was under the same impression that we were picking, I said, I think I have my 5. And then Katie goes, oh, I thought we were going based off the 5 he picked and trying to rank them. And I said, we need to clarify that. And Reek said, yeah, I was just going with those 5 based on influence, genre, impact it has. Final Girls. I'm like, okay, I thought we were each giving our top 5. That makes it easier. And then I submitted the thumbnail with those 5 on the thumbnail in the group chat. I thought we were all on the same page at that point. But since you and Juss already have those other lists, we can still do that part after this.
The irony is I have 4 of the 5 on my list. So in my head, I was like, this is going to be a short episode because I have 4 of the same 5. So I was like, like, okay, but I have 4 of the exact same 5 on my top 5. They're not in anything close to the same order. So I can theoretically go next if need be.
It's up to Katie. I gave her the floor, so she wants to wait.
If you're determined, Will, you can.
No, Katie, you can go next, and then I'll kind of finish filling in my gaps because I'll cheat off of your guys' homework and put it with what I already did.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm surprised Katie watched all these movies.
Hey, excuse me. A lot of them were in the past 2 years, but that doesn't fucking matter, sir. Well, I will say I haven't watched Psycho in a really long time, so I put Psycho at number 5 just for the sheer fact I don't remember a lot about it. I didn't have time to go rewatch it, but from what I do remember, the twist of it being Norman Bates and his mother not actually being alive, and it was at the time a crazy plot twist, and like you said, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom and the shower scene is iconic. I have Texas Chainsaw at 4. Y'all know my take on Texas Chainsaw. I am not a big fan of the franchise in general. I watched them all. I suffered.
Including the porn parody.
Yeah, we didn't have to bring that up.
Always have to
I
bring
did.
it up.
I did that. But yeah, I put it at 4 because again, I'm just not a big component. Like, I don't really like the franchise in general, so the first movie doesn't really do it for me personally, especially Leatherface. I have Friday the 13th at 3 because it was like POV shots and it was kind of different for what they were doing with slasher stuff at the time. Like, we didn't know who the killer was. I remember watching the first one and I think I like asked you guys, I was like, it's not Jason. Like, I didn't know like his mom was a thing at all. Like, when I first got into these movies. So seeing that was interesting. I've Nightmare on Elm Street on at 2 because I mean Robert Englund and just Freddy in general. It was such a unique idea that it was just like, you know, he was in your dreams and he could kill you like in your dream and all of that. It was, I mean, it's a good first movie of a franchise, but I mean, I have to go Halloween as number 1. It like, I know we're not talking like franchises in general, but like it really did like jumpstart this franchise. And I mean, like, how many people have been Michael Myers for Halloween, and Jamie Lee Curtis is a perfect final girl to have in your movie. The kills were not overly done. It was shot very well. The music, everything behind it. So I think it's like a really good first movie. So that's why I have Halloween as number 1.
All right. And just so everyone knows, this is our personal ranking and the reasons why we pick things. Do you still want some time to cheat off me, Will, or
No, I'm good to go now.
okay? Will, what is your top 5?
Okay, so I'm going to do 2 because I'm an overachiever. I have 2 lists done for Reek because that's how much I appreciate my man's time.
Now, mind you, if one of your lists features a movie not in this 5, save it, and that'll be the second part of the show.
I'm going to do the 5 for the episode first, and I'm going to save my 5 that I brought initially for later, okay?
Perfect.
So ranking these 5, here's why I put them in this order. I'm going to put Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 5. Although Leatherface I felt was iconic, when you think of 3 slashers, most of the time it's always going to go in no, this is going to be hard because I don't want to put them in an order, but it's always going to be Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and Leatherface. You know what I mean? There's always those same, they're all on this list of 5 we have to pick from ultimately. So it's kind of that order that you put them in. I feel like Ed Gein and Leatherface are always towards that. You know, it's like you're still a Mount Rushmore, but you're always like the Teddy Roosevelt. You're never George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. You know what I mean? Like, you're good, not great,
Right.
if you look at it like that. That's why I would put Texas Chainsaw Massacre there. Plus, all of the remakes didn't carry the cultural wave that, say, the Michael Myers remakes did, or the Freddy remakes, or even the later Friday the 13th remakes. They didn't carry that ripple that they did.
Hold on 1 second, Will. Not
Yeah.
to break you up. Rick, so first part of the show, we got 5 movies: Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween,
That's my man right
the
there.
original Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. We're ranking those 1 through 5. Second part of the show will be our picks for either movies or franchises in the slasher genre that are our top 5 personal. So that'll be coming. Sorry, go ahead, Will.
No. Number 4, Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street. Echoing a lot of the things Reek said, everything that makes Freddy terrifying is the fact that he can pretty much do it all when you're asleep, when you're the least powerful, theoretically speaking. You know what I mean? You're laying there in bed asleep. You have no real control, and that's when this person is at their strongest. So, but still, I put him in 4 because I feel like the people ahead of him have had a much bigger, using that cultural ripple, that cultural wave through the horror genre. Psycho in number 3, arguably Hitchcock's greatest movie. The character development in the movie makes it to where before people start dying off, he makes you fall in love with the characters. You like the way he makes you love those characters is intense, and I think that's what. Plus, like Reese said, the iconic shower scene. Plus the spin-offs that came off later with Bates Motel and the American Psycho and all the different angles and versions of this story they told, and it spanned multiple generations. I think that's one of the things that make it important from this point on the list. 2, I put Jason. I put him over Freddy because as a kid, Jason always scared me more than Freddy did. I
However,
always
Jason's not in this movie.
well, in my
Well,
original
technically.
notes, I'll get to it and I'll explain. But I put Jason and Mama Voorhees on my original list because I'll explain my understanding after we get through. Everybody kind of puts their ranking together. I felt like the Friday the 13th movie series is another one where it started 35 years ago. But if you walk up to somebody on the street and you mention Jason Voorhees, yes, I know we're talking about Mama Voorhees in the first one, but if you mention him, people are going to know who he is, even kids today, because of how important he was. And with that being said, that's exactly why Michael Myers is number 1, because without a doubt in Hollywood, they've made 3 different timelines around this person. You've got different versions and directors. You've got different people that have wanted to display how or why Michael became the way he did. And I feel like there's more want to tell his story than anybody else on this list. So that's why I felt like Michael was number 1.
All right. Just, are you ready or you still need some time? You're muted.
Justin, you're
again.
muted.
Thanks for the both of you. So I'm not gonna change anything that you guys said because I kind of agree with everything you guys said. So I'm just gonna make mine quick and easy. Basically, I'm gonna go from 1 to 5. So basically, Michael Myers is number 1. 2 is Fred because he scares people in nightmares while he's in bed. 3 is Norman Bates because he's a perv with mommy issues. 4 is Texas Chain because he's a slasher that has a face for tissues. And number 5 is Jason's mom because we know how that goes. Bitches, they come and go. Saturday through Sunday, Monday, and Monday through Sunday, yo. So sit your drunk ass on their runway, ho. And that's it.
Thank you, Justin.
This man said, I'm going to turn it into a sweaty session anyways.
I love you, Justin. I
All
love
right.
you.
That was amazing.
This is fun.
Here we go. My list, I think, is probably closest to Katie's. At number 5, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Reek mentioned it. I am one of those people that thinks that the remake from 2003 is far superior to the original. I understand in 1974 what Texas Chainsaw Massacre did. However, I wasn't born until 1987. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. It's my experience with the fucking movie, and that's where we're at with it. And my experience was Leatherface running around like a bitch, like a sub to his family and squealing like a pig, as opposed to Michael Bay turning him into the actual badass that he was. So we're looking at the 74 version. He's at the bottom of my list for that and that alone. Back to me understanding, but personal ranking, not having respect for classics. Psycho is number 4. Black and white, Norman Bates. Like, I get this is kind of, around where that slasher genre originated. However, in the words Justin will persist of Juvenile, she got it from her mama, but she also did it better. We'll get there. Where she get her eyes from? She gets them from her mama. Anyway, number 3, Dead in the Middle of the Pack, Friday the 13th. Mostly because this, Jason is the icon from this franchise, but this is the movie that did it. They took how they saw Halloween. They're like, how can we do that? And on a lower budget, and they did, and it's effective. And Pamela Voorhees is fantastic. they did their own thing with it. However, she's not the one you remember going forward in the franchise. So that puts it in the middle of the pack because it's still a great slasher. One of my favorites, one of my favorite franchises, which puts Freddy at number 2. But on the outside of what everyone kind of said about Freddy, Reek said, the slasher genre was what it was, and this doesn't really fit. And that's why Freddy's number 2, because he took what the slasher genre was, and Wes Craven remixed that in his own way and made it fresh and original with Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy wasn't this guy behind a mask in a jumpsuit, which we had prior. Like, Jason was a thing by now. Michael was a thing by now. Leatherface was a thing by now. Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984. Like, we had all this shit by then. He was a fucked up dude who got burnt in a fucking duster hat and a Christmas sweater with a homemade murder claw, who was stalking you in your dreams. Honestly, you could say that fucking Heather Langenkamp, Nancy Loomis, Heather Langenkamp's might be the mom of Macaulay Culkin, who then became Jigsaw, because she was doing improvised traps and shit before either of them. And it's a great fucking movie. And Freddy and Jason at 2 and 3. Obviously, we know what number 1 is. It's always going to be my number 1. And it's one of those things where I feel like those people who were like, I really loved that band when they were indie, and then they got mainstream and now everyone loves them, and I'm kind of fucking pissed about it. Because prior to recent memory, Freddy and Jason were the two. They were the top. They were the merch sellers. They were your motherfucking Roman Reigns, Bloodline, Cody Rhodes. Like that was them. Like, they were the ones selling the motherfucking merch. You're Becky Lynch, if you will, for Freddy, because they're both gingers in a way, kind of, especially in the remake. And then slowly, everyone just kind of started appreciating Michael more, whereas I was always a Michael guy. And now I feel like everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon. It's like, no, bitch, I was here first. Like, this was a small bus. We didn't have room for the rest of y'all. Where the fuck did you come from? Go back to where you were. But I get it. It is what it is. Michael's it for me. I love gingers. You know that. You and Jaxpo, if he's still in the chat. It's that first movie that really fucked with me when I watched it. It's one of the first slashers that my mom introduced me to. It's something that she loved. It'll always hold a special place in my heart. And honestly, Freddy has his weakness. Michael does not. Jason has his weakness. Michael does not. Like, there is nothing about Michael Myers throughout the franchise where he has vulnerabilities, weakness, kryptonite, if you will. I be on that kryptonite, straight up on that kryptonite. Just see, I got Just back. I saw him.
I'm with you. I've been with you.
So yeah, that is why I ranked everything the way I did, and that's why Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre are at the bottom for me, and Freddy and Michael are sitting up at that top spot.
Yes.
Yes.
Dig it. Good.
We have one more submission from Twitter, by the way, and this is coming from at Hook Cove on Twitter, D.A. Holmes. He's got Halloween at number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street at number 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 3, Friday the 13th at 4, and Psycho dead last.
Ooh.
So is everyone's like 2 and 3 either Freddy or Texas or Psycho? No.
Reek's the only one that had Psycho at number 1.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, 2 and 3. Oh, yeah, because you have Psycho at number 1.
And then
Okay.
Reek had Halloween at 2.
Oh, okay.
I had Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street at 1 and 2. Katie.
Right.
Same thing.
Same thing. I had the same thing.
Will had Halloween at 1.
It was Michael, Jason, Norman, Freddy, Leatherface.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So.
okay.
Norman. What a stupid name.
Sorry.
Let's
see. Bakley in the chat. Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw
Friday
Massacre,
the
Psycho.
Well, Jason's mom or Jason Voorhees?
Well, we're talking Friday the 13th. We're talking the movie.
Oh
The
no, I mean,
original
I
slasher.
was asking Bakley. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's what we're ranking. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer for him. His soulless ass.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll talk about the leprechaun here soon. I'm assuming.
And
Comments.
and look, the only reason I put Psycho number 1 is, if I'm gonna say essential slashers, it's like it just kind of it all stems from that.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When you think like Hitchcock made that quote about suspense, and if you it's like something about if you see a bus or something coming or whatever, and it hits them and you see it coming, that suspense and it's something different. It's horror. Like the man had a mind for it that a lot of people just didn't grasp yet, and they wouldn't for a while. So it's like that just sets the tone for what we didn't even realize was going to be a whole genre of slasher films.
Right.
Allison's got Halloween at 1, Psycho at 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 3, Jason at 4, Friday 13th at 4, and Nightmare on Elm Street at 5.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I never would have thought Texas Chainsaw would go anywhere in the top 3.
And like I said, Reek, I understand
But
why
shut
you
up.
did it. Me personally, though, when I look at it, it's like, okay, Jamie did it better than her mom, in my opinion. She was in that.
Woo.
Oh yeah,
She was in the movie for the shower scene, stubbed her toe, ketchup blood. Jamie was the focus. So for me, it's gonna be, she got it from her mom and did it better, as I said.
she crawled so Jamie could sprint.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Speaking of crawling and sprinting, if you need some energy, we've got some ads for you guys that we're going to ask you to check out and support our sponsors. Dubby will not only help you with your sprinting and all of that, but also with any other activities, whether it's walking your dog, walking your dog, or walking your dog or fucking. And we've got a little bit of everything for you. So please check out a word from our sponsors.
That was great.
Spice things up in
So
the
great to
bedroom,
replay.
then it's time to check out Adam and Eve. Because you see, Adam and Eve is the leading adult toy store that offers a wide range of products to help you explore your sexual desires. Whether you're looking for something to use solo or with a partner, they have everything you need to satisfy your cravings. From vibrators to lingerie, bondage gear to lubricants, AdamandEve.com has it all. And the best part, you can shop with confidence, knowing that all their products are of high quality and backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That means whether you bought a dildo, sex swing, penis ring, vibrator, anal sex toy, bondage toy, couples toy, lube, or accessory, you can get a refund within 90 days if you're not 100% satisfied. No questions asked. And right now, as a special offer to our listeners, Adam and Eve is giving you 50% off almost any item on their website. That's right, 50% off. And if you act now, you'll also get free shipping. So go to adamandeve.creationworld.com and use the offer code erotica at checkout. That's erotica at adamandeve.creationworld.com for 50% off almost any item and free shipping. Don't wait. This offer won't last very long. The link is in the description. Attention dog lovers. Are you looking for high quality products to spoil your furry friend? Then you need to check out dog.com. Because you see, dog.com is the go-to online store for all your dog related needs. They offer a huge selection of dog food, treats, beds, and more. Plus, they have products for all types of dogs, from puppies to seniors and everything in between. And the best part, you can shop with confidence knowing that all their products are made with your dog's health and happiness in mind. Dog.com only stocks top-rated brands that you can trust, so you can rest easy knowing your dog is getting the best. And right now, as a special offer to our listeners, Dog.com is doing a big warehouse clearance sale. And all you have to do is go to dog.creationworld.com and you can get up to 80% off on all sorts of items like toys, treats, bones, harnesses, bowls, leashes, and anything else you can think of. So go to dog.creationworld.com and take advantage of this sale right now. Spoil your furry friend with the best products from dog.creationworld.com today. Link is in the description. Are you tired of feeling sluggish and unfocused throughout the day? Then it's time to try Dubby, the ultimate energy source. Dubby is a powerful, clean energy drink that is designed to help you stay alert and focused no matter what life throws your way. Whether you're a student, a busy professional, an athlete, or especially a gamer, Dubby can give you the boost you need to take on the day or the night. It also contains important aminos and vitamins that canned energy drinks simply don't have. And the best part, Dubby is made with high quality ingredients and is completely sugar-free, maltodextrin-free, and is keto-friendly. So you can enjoy the energy boost without any of the crash, jitters, or angst that comes with traditional energy drinks. Simply mix Dubby with water and you'll have a delicious, refreshing energy drink that can help you power through your entire day. And with a variety of flavors to choose from, including Galaxy Grenade, Beach and Peach, and Dragonade, you're sure to find one that you love. So go to dubby.creationworld.com and order your Dubby today. And for a limited time, use code Creatia at checkout to get 10% off your order. That's Creatia at dubby.creationworld.com for 10% off. Try Dubby today and feel the difference. The link is in the description.
All right. So what we are going to do now, I'm gonna reverse this. We're gonna wait for Juss. He's back.
Is he though?
Will and
What the?
he's got to focus. You know,
It's gonna fix itself.
I'm not gonna make a joke about that. Will and Juss came ready for a sweaty session, and that's what we're gonna do. We're remixing this shit. We're sweaty session up. Rules are out the windows, ladies and gentlemen. You can pick your 5 favorite franchises. You can pick your 5 favorite movies. Whatever your criteria is, your top 5 essential slashers. We'll let Reek and Katie go last, seeing as they were all on the same page. We'll let Will and Just go first. I'll go third because I also had one, and then when I realized what was going on, I reverted back. But before we do that, I want to thank everyone who is watching us live, whether you are watching us over at twitch.tv/Creation World, where if you have Amazon Prime, you have Amazon Prime Gaming, which means you get a free subscription to your favorite Twitch subscriber or Twitch streamer every month, whether it's us or Botch Spots and Chair Shots or any of your favorite content creators. You can throw them a free sub. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it takes money out of Jeff Bezos' pocket. So fuck that guy. Like, pay us. We deserve it. Support your favorite content creators. Or you watch us live at youtube.com/Creation World, where it's free to do like, to subscribe, to comment. Will, what does that do?
It boosts the algorithm and it helps find new listeners.
That is erect. And also, you can flick that bean up at the top, the little notification bell, and get notified every time we go live, whether it's for getting off every other week-ish, Smacking It Raw, which is now on Saturdays and just finished up before this episode. So if you haven't checked that out, please go back and do that. It was awesome. Or the Creation Conversation, Monday through Friday. You will see me and Katie again on Monday. You will see Will on Thursday and Friday. You even get a little bit of me and Travis on Wednesday. So please come check out everything we have to offer for you, whether you're into nerd shit, horror, wrestling. We've got it all. All right. Juss, this is a sweaty session.
Yes, sir.
You were prepared for a sweaty session.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you kick this shit off. Give me the top 5 you came with today.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this quick again.
Are you going to do another haiku for us that ends in an Eminem lyric?
Yeah. So here we go. So Nosferatu is the OG. And number 2, I'm gonna bring the Queen of Scare, Carrie. Then I'm gonna bring number 3 with Chucky because he'll be your friend till the end. Candyman is just someone you see. And then with number 5, I'm going to be Leprechaun because with a friend with weed is a friend indeed, but a friend with gold is the best, I'm told.
God damn it.
Pop. Pop.
Facts, I am.
Wow. Whoa.
Thank you.
I'm a whore. He has no soul. We know each other. Justin, I love that you're on a poetic kick as of late, and a little bit of a song lyric kick as well. I don't think I've heard "A Friend Would Need Is a Friend Indeed" in a long time. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Will, you said 4 of your 5 were already on that list. What you got for us, bud?
So coming into this, I thought we were kind of giving our, that top 5 slashers. So I had in mine, in that number 5 spot, the honorable mention is I had Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In my original number 5, I had Child's Play, Charles Lee Ray. Thinking about how fucked up this series is and everything that came with it, all because a motherfucker got mad over a Christmas present and offed a dude, and then he ends up being a serial killer and he embeds himself in this toy, all the havoc, the whole thing, because Chucky never takes himself too seriously. And I kind of like that, a little comedic edge to it. So I put Chucky in number 5, and my honorable mention was Leatherface. So Norman Bates was already in my number 4. Number 3 was the one that caused me. I had to do some shifting around because at number 3, I had Ghostface from Scream. In my notes, I have 90s, the aughts, the 2010s, the 2020s. It goes through fucking everything for the last 30 years. Okay. So I was it's one of those generational things, longevity. My notes also say Fast and the Furious of the horror genre.
How dare you?
Yo. That's true, though. That's true.
I see it.
Then 2, I had Jason and Mama Voorhees, and then 1, I had Michael Myers. So I had to do some rearranging. When I had to think about Freddy and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I had to put those 2 how I would see them in order, because those 2 kind of honorable mentions but didn't make the top 5. So it took me a second to realize what we were doing, because I had 3 of them that I were ready to put in order, and then I just put Freddy and Leatherface in order. But I think Ghostface would have deserved a spot in that top 5 because, like I said, when you talk about longevity and horror, at this point you have to talk about Scream, even with the jokes of it being the Fast and the Furious and them, everything they've done now to take it away from, Billy and Stu. You think about everything that is, where they're at now, it's kind of like Fast and the Furious. It went from street racing to jumping cars into fucking helicopters and being in space with rap music. You know what I mean? Right.
Let's be body bags together instead of family.
All right. Then.
Okay. But yeah, that was the direction I took it initially. I said,
I like that.
60% of the list, almost pretty much 80% if you look at the honorable mentions I had written down, were all on the list anyway. So I just needed to get my thoughts in order to shift those into where I would have put them if they were in the top 5. So I was I would have, great Will Gray look. I was a C+. I was mediocre at best. You know what you're going to get when you have me on your show.
Well, I mean, I give you a B+, Will, for sure.
Yeah.
Depending on how high you are. No, I was in the same boat as I was in the same boat as you and Justin when Reek first presented this. My thought was pick my top 5. What are my top 5? And I looked at it because, all right, first off, if you don't listen to the Get Your Podcast, what the fuck are you doing with your life? If you don't know what a sweaty session is, I don't know why the fuck you're here. No, but for real, thank you for being here. I love you. So what Just does on the Get Your Podcast, and Katie also has a version kind of like this on her show as well. Hers is the question of the week. Just has a theme or a topic for every episode that he informs everybody of. And it's just kind of a vague thrown out there SummerSlam poems, which is the latest episode of Get Your Podcast, which you should go listen to because I killed those SummerSlam poems.
He did.
Reek really loves my one about the main event. And then you figure out what that means on your own. Katie has her question of the week, and Katie has a specific question, and it's her interpretation, and then the chat does their thing, and it's a fun thing. So that's kind of what we do here now too, a little bit. That's what we did last episode with Saw Traps as sex positions, And that's kind of what we're doing for the second half of this episode. So for me, at number 5, I had Scream. First and foremost, we have dubbed ourselves the Core 4 of a currently 6-movie franchise. There is only one that is not really worth your time in watching, in my opinion, and that is the third one. You can just skip the fuck out of that. But 1 and 2 are really good. 4 might be my favorite of the franchise. I wasn't big on 5 when it first came out, and I really came around on it, and 6 reinforced that. 6 was fucking fantastic. Again, this is from horror master Wes Craven starting this franchise off and really doing his thing with the meta horror and redefining a genre for the second time in his fucking career. But it is also a newer franchise that started in the 90s and is still dropping movies. Actually, most of these are on my top 5, but that is why it is at 5. At number 4, and the reason it is at number 4 is because the last 2 movies that this franchise released are 2 of my favorite horror movies, period, in the last 10 years. It is Evil Dead. Now, I may personally not be a huge OG Evil Dead fan for the first 3 movies, or 1.5, and then Army of Darkness. I appreciate them and the character of Ash for what they are. I fell in love with Ash versus Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2013 was my favorite horror movie of the last decade. I absolutely fucking love that. And then Evil Dead Rise came out and drop kicked me right back in that heart where Evil Dead 2013 did. And I fucking loved it. And because of that, I put it just a bump above Scream. The next 3 spots are very familiar because they're movies that we talked about. Back to horror master Wes Craven with Nightmare on Elm Street, redefining what the horror genre could be, taking Freddy, and then obviously bringing Freddy back for a new nightmare in a new, darker, scarier way, doing meta horror before he even invented meta horror with Scream. And the journey of this character from being this dark sicko to almost a lovable anti-hero who is mocking and cracking jokes and doing all of these insane things. However, things get a little muddled there around 4 or 5, and depending on your opinion, of 6.
Mm-hmm.
Allison said she has only ever seen one Friday the 13th. It was Freddy versus Jason. That counts as both a Friday the 13th and a Nightmare on Elm Street, so you've seen one of each. Will, you have a lot of work to do, sir, on the lady in the chair. You need to get her educated. Jason is always number 2 in my rankings. He will always come in second to my number 1, and you already know who the fuck that is. But when it comes to at least up until this year, and I think he's still in the lead, most kills, most creative kills, and the transformation of that genre, on top of the fact that my idea, which you can go back and check out on one of our episodes, of a slasher verse is based around an idea that was introduced in Jason Goes to Hell with the Necronomicon being in the Voorhees Manor. Jason was king of the slashers for a very long time on most people's lists, just not on mine, and he's sitting at number 2 for that reason and that reason alone. My number 1 was, always will be my personal king, motherfucking Michael Myers. I saw something on TikTok that I want to actually go. It's like, what's your favorite piece of physical media? I have the 4K Steelbook, or not Steelbook, but the 4K Deluxe Edition of the Halloween franchise prior to the last 3 movies that came out, which was the first release of the producer's cut of Halloween 6 in physical media that you could get. How I got it, how I watched it. I've always said, even though I did kind of say it at the beginning of the episode, and it was misplaced wording, while it's not the best movie, Halloween 6 is my favorite movie in the franchise. It is my personal best, but it obviously overall arcing story and acting and all. It's not the best in the franchise, but it's my personal best. I love me some Halloween 6. Michael Myers is that guy. If there was no Michael Myers, there would be no Jason Voorhees. So for me, it is what it is. Those are my top 5.
Nice.
Does that mean I go next?
It's between you and Reek, whichever one's ready. I know Reek's always gonna defer to you first because
I know.
first. He's a gentleman
He is a gentleman.
and a doctor with a giant. Never mind.
Hey yo.
My feed cut off. What was that last one?
It's not important.
Yeah. So, anyways,
That's not what
so since I went by the original theme, so I kind of just thought of all of this on the fly. I'm kind of just going like overall franchises. Number 5, this is probably going to be shocking. I have a new appreciation for it. I'm gonna go Saw. John Kramer is one sick son of a bitch, and very creative. I will give him that. Like, gore is typically not my thing, but it's all psychological game. The storylines within storylines, yeah, things get a little convoluted here and there, but after doing the 2-part Saw, I have a new admiration for John Kramer, and I love Billy.
It was the sex positions that really did it for you.
No, it definitely was not.
You're like, I need to try some of these, and now this is one of my top 5.
No, it's. I'm gonna be honest, it was not that.
It changed your life.
What?
Anyways, number 4, I have Nightmare on Elm Street, the entire series. I mean, Matt kind of said it best. Freddy does become like this lovable asshole and makes it entertaining, and like killing people in your dreams is such an interesting thing. And some of the movies get a little fucking weird, but I mean, I think every franchise kind of goes through that phase in some capacity, especially these longer ones. Number 3, I have Chucky. Just all the Child's Play movies, the series, because the TV show is amazing. Banger. And I mean, a killer doll. Like, come on, that's great. It's perfect. And like, Chucky's entertaining as all fuck, and then when like Tiffany gets introduced, like, that's perfect. Love Tiffany. I mean, Jennifer Tilly. Goddamn.
But forget about it.
I like to stick her in the pig vat.
Would you relax? Stop.
Sir?
A. Anyways, number 2, I'm gonna go Halloween, entire franchise again. Love Michael. Yeah, I had him as my number 1 in this original 5. But I mean, they know me. I mean, I have the glass. It's Scream. It's Ghostface and it's Scream. The first movie came out the year I was born. Yeah, I'm young. Fuck off. But like, I like got to like, this is the franchise like I grew up with and like I grew to love, and I saw 6 in theaters twice. I have like the most merch from it. Like, it's weird as it is. It's like the first movie or any of the movies are comfort movies to me now. Like that, it's just my go-to, because Ghostface is multiple people, and like Billy Loomis and Stu. Like, come on, 2 of the hottest killers in the game. Like,
Right.
I can't say shit. So like, Scream, number 1, always.
All right.
Good choice.
Mr. Havoc, you started us off with your version. You're going to close us out with your version. Who are your top 5?
So my list is almost completely different because I personalized it. I went in order of how hard they hit my fear button, because as I've told you guys before, I had a fear of damn near everything. So horror movies in general gave me the chills. 2 honorable mentions real quick. First is Friday the 13th, because Jason honestly was like low on the fears list. I never watched the movie until I got to be like in the mid-teens, because I just, it took me a while to get on the kick. But as far as that goes, like it wasn't so much that it scared me. I just, wasn't big in the franchise compared to the others. The other, let's see who remembers this one. Valentine. Because it was 2002 was that point where like you had some sneaky little slashers in the mix there that, you'd see something and it was like, oh, it's interesting. Dudes killing people in a Cupid mask.
Right.
Freaky. Really freaky. And then if you watch the movie, like a lot of the way, all the cards he was sending all the girls and the way he was like setting them up, that was clever. You know what I'm saying? But I remember seeing that as a kid and I was like, nope, it's not happening. She's right. That was a good movie. All right. So number 5, Candyman. Right off the bat. Listen, for me, as a black man, I'm already scared of a lot of things, but to know now that there's Barney, oh my Lord.
He loves you.
So for me, I'm just like, it's a black dude that's in a horror movie as the killer with a hook hand, and just like it gave me them chills, and it was one of the movies that I always got dared to watch, and I'm just like, no, because listen, Tony Todd, if there's no other image you have of the man, it's of him in that coat with that stump with a hook in it, like certain things you just can't unsee. And
he wasn't even like just coming for white people. It's not like you were safe because he was fucking with his own people until that white bitch showed up. So like,
exactly. Yeah,
It's always the white bitches.
Yeah, Candyman was one of the things that it was one of the things that, like, as a kid, people tried to convince you was real. So I definitely was like, stay away. Number 4, Child's Play, Chucky. I was always a big toy person growing up, so the concept of a killer toy doll, it was just like,
yes,
yeah, that gets me all the time. I Know What You Did Last Summer was definitely like almost an honorable mention for me.
I feel like I do this every time. I Know What You Did Last Summer is to scream as Smacked Raw is to Smacking It Raw.
You stop. I'm not saying you're wrong, but stop it.
Let me be.
I love it. Yeah, but yeah, Child's Play, number 4. It's
Who You Did Last Summer?
It was one of.
Hey.
It was. It was one
Yo, get you.
It was one of those that I, after a while, it's like, okay, this isn't so bad, but I can see why it's like it plays on the easiest fares, because it's like it's a kid, and you're going after you have a child who is being pursued by this doll, so it's like the worst kind of fear. Number 3, Nightmare on Elm Street. The image that's burned in my head forever is Freddy in that alleyway, chasing after Tina with the long arms scraping all up and down on the sides of the walls. Like that's haunting as a kid to watch. It really is. Between that and him bursting out of the dude in part 2, it was just like,
oh yeah, that
was just like nightmare fuel, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I said before, it's Wes Craven's magnum opus. However, what he did here, he perfected in my number 2, which is Scream. Because I watched Scream. I'll never forget this. In December with my cousins, and I woke up that night screaming because I was just like, I was genuinely fearful. Like I see that image of Ghostface, and I'm just like, hell no. I can't sleep in the dark. I can't do none of that. Like all of that was just killing. And you talk about the franchise too. There's all hits and one miss in the mix. So it's only gotten better as time has gone on. But that first one just knocks it right out of the park. And of course, at number 1, I'm gonna where the more predictable side is kicking in. It's Halloween. Michael Myers was legitimately my greatest fear for the first 13 years of my life. Like you could put a dozen spiders in front of me, and I won't be half as afraid of that as I would have been of Michael Myers for that time frame. Because, and I told you guys a story on a previous episode. Went to a Blockbuster when I was 5-6 years old, and it was when they still had the VHS had that revolving cover from the pumpkin to the face.
Oh, the hologram. Yeah.
Yeah. So I happened to catch a look of the face, and just the look of the face, I ran away from that. I hadn't seen the movie. I hadn't seen clips of the movie. I just saw a face, and I ran for my life because, like, what is that? Why is that? Everything. You know? So by the time I get to, like, seeing, what the movie is and the clips and stuff like that, I'm just like, never, ever. It was one of them things that when I turned 13, it's like, okay, I have to face down this fear and watch the movie. And I finally did, and I loved it. So, I mean, that just, like, I take it now, and it's genuinely my favorite horror movie to watch on any given time. So,
I also have 2 honorable mentions. Will had some, Reek had some. And the reason they're honorable mentions for me is because every movie that has been discussed here tonight, except for Justin's list of his stuff, is tattooed on my body in some point. Michael Myers was my first horror tattoo. It is on the back of my right arm. Jason is on the back of my left arm. He was number 2. You can see the Scream mask right here on your screen. It was a cover-up. I've got Chucky right there.
Yes.
Leatherface right there. Also, the mark of the thorn right there. But on the inside of my arm, you can see Pinhead. Hellraiser, which we did not mention. I have an Evil Dead pretty much half sleeve over here. I've got the cabin, the face, the words. Freddy is right here on the other side, the counterpart to Pinhead on the inside of my arm. However, also right here on this arm, if you can see it, probably not, is Hannibal Lecter's mask and the butterfly moth from Silence of the Lambs. My 2 honorable mentions would be Hannibal Lecter's franchise, the Silence of the Lambs franchise, however you want to look at it, because you've got Hannibal, you've got Hannibal Rising, if you want to count that, Red Dragon, and obviously Silence of the Lambs, and then also the Hellraiser series, which also got a remake this year as well. So those are my 2 honorable mentions.
I like it. I was actually surprised I hadn't heard from Hellraiser at any point.
I know there's a couple major fan accounts, but I've rarely found someone who has Hellraiser as one of their favorites, if not their favorite. Like, there's that Hell Priest chick, I believe it's a woman, on Twitter, who's a huge Hellraiser fan, especially now that the new Hellraiser has the female Pinhead in there. Beautiful. But not a lot of my best friend is Travis Pointer, not Buffalo Bill. I can neither confirm nor deny that Travis listens to Goodbye Horses while tucking his junk between his legs. But
Jesus.
I forget where I was at. God damn it, Bakley, you fucked me up.
Hellraiser.
I don't know anyone that has Hellraiser as maybe their top 5, but not as their favorite. Really, it's rarely talked about, and I feel kind of underappreciated for, again, what it did for that genre and going a different route. Actually, the only movie that we talked about that isn't tattooed on me is actually my next tattoo, which is a Saw tattoo, because Katie had Saw on there. And Psycho, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, what tattoo would you get of Psycho? Like the person screaming in the shower, or would you...
ketchup packet?
Ketchup packet.
It's got to be Norman,
right?
Me and Will right there with the ketchup
skeleton
packet. we are going to do a short post show because I have a note here that specifically says Reek post show, and I'll read the rest afterwards. But I made myself a note about something, so we got something to talk about. I want to thank everyone for joining us for this episode of Getting Off. Dropping your 5, whether it was on Twitter or here in the chat. If you are listening to the show late, anywhere that I mentioned earlier, pornhub.com/model/creation world, which is my favorite place for you to watch us, and Katie's favorite place to watch alongs with me, or the Rack and Will and Juss. Tweet at Getting Off and let me know what your top 5 are. Whether it's your top 5 franchises or your 1 through 5 for the original movies that we started out with: Psycho, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm curious as to both. So, do those things. We appreciate it. Katie, you've already done it once, so we'll get you out of the way. Go ahead and plug yourself.
You can follow me on Twitter at KatieReston13, the link tree in my biotech all things She Leads Showcase, twitch.tv/She Leads Showcase, typically Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/She Leads Showcase. Watch the videos because they're way more entertaining. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts if you want to listen. And there's a bunch of shit on the channel. The SummerSlam vlog with a very long rant at the end will be up probably tomorrow.
Thank you. Good doctor. Please tell them where your practice is.
Oh Lord. You can find me at ReCapper24 on Instagram and on Twitter. The predecessor to Getting Off is the Havoc Hour, where I talk sports and entertainment as well, which segued into this. But all of those episodes are up on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and video versions are up on YouTube. Jackson just shot the most recent episode of Young Kings Wrestling earlier today.
Oh.
So it may be out tomorrow or Monday, just so as you know.
Probably Monday, because he always does Monday. It's
Right.
your thing. Also, you can find him slinging dick near Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, delivering packages.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Ooh.
I don't do house calls.
Will, where can they find you?
You can find me if you check my link tree at the Will Gray. You'll find all my shenanigans for Rivet City Radio, Off the Top Media, and Creation World, and all of my dirt sheet writing for the Sportster, Last Word on Sports, and Pro Wrestling Stories.
Where can they find you slinging dick? Somewhere in...
You can
Tennessee?
find me slinging dick on OnlyFans at Chef Will Gray. If you want me to cook you breakfast in my undies, I will. If you want me to talk to you about your day, I will. Just find me there. OnlyFans at Chef Will Gray.
Juss from the bodega.
Yep. Also slinging
got-
dick as well. Slinging dick as well.
On 3 shows. Where can they find them?
You can find me at Get Your Podcast on Twitter, Get Your Podcast on Instagram. If you can't find me there, you can find me on Marks and Mikes. The latest Get Your Podcast episode is featuring the Warden, Matt. We did a SummerSlam poem, so check that out. He kills those. Literal Diaries is out with the homegirl Jizzy, where we talk about adult shit. Marks and Mike's episode is out. You hear their experience about him and Powerbomb Jitsu, trying to defend the titles, almost getting in a car accident, and they're living SummerSlam in Detroit. Shout out to them. And tomorrow, shout out, check us out on Botch Chair Shots with our homie Will and Warden, the Matt Ritter. Will also be there live. We could be doing some shit there too.
I want to have the most offensive episode of the podcast we've ever done.
Oh my God.
I don't know what just take that for what it is. Let's figure out a way.
And the Rack talked about wrestling scandals, and this might be the most offensive episode. So just put that out there. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Matt Ritter or at Getting Off, because you're here for the horror. So go there for the horror. Also, if you're a wrestling fan, Instagram, Threads, TikTok at Smacking It Raw. You'll also get a little bit of that horror content over at Smacking It Raw on TikTok as well. Our next episode will either be something that was recently just inspired in my mind from Allison when she said, "I know what you did last summer," and I said, "I know who you did last summer." We might start at least a sweaty session version of horror movies as porn titles. It's on the block. We'll talk. because Saw Traps and Sex Positions was fun. But also, I know Reek's working his way through it. Katie's going to start it. We will be talking Twisted Metal very soon. The franchise is deep rooted in horror, especially when we get into talking about which game this mostly is based off of and all of that. So look forward to that in roughly 2 weeks. One of those 2 episodes will be coming out. Follow everything at It's Creation World, ITSCREATIA World. Stay updated, know when that is coming. Bagley loves Twisted Metal. 4, Miss Katie Kinsey, baby. King Reek, House of Havoc, first of his name. Chef by trade, a mark by choice, the Will Gray, and your boy Juss. I am the patron saint of podcasting, the Ward Matt Ritter, and this has been your #1 horror podcast on Pornhub. All right, Reek, I don't remember why, where, or how, but at some point in our interactions, in my notes on my phone, I wrote Reek post-show edible story.
What?
What? Oh my lord.
What?
So
Yes.
my experience with edibles, I guess.
You were in a chat or on a show or something and said you had an edible story. And I made a note of putting it in my notes for later. And now we're on the show. And I'm pretty sure I actually said when we do Getting Off, we'll talk about it, but it might have been like 2 weeks ago. So
yeah. I mean, it's brief, but yeah, I thought I told y'all this before. I always wanted to like just give it a try and see what it's about. My thing was if I ever got like super high, I wanted to watch Half Baked. So had a friend of mine. You know what I'm getting at. You know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I love where this story's going already, Reek, because
had a friend of mine. Her uncle was like a legit with making different stuff, and he always had some really strong shit. So he made some brownies. I asked her to grab me one, and she got me one. It's like it's about this big. So I got myself all ready. I put it on. I put Half Baked on the Netflix. Pulled up, got nice and comfortable. I took about a quarter of a piece, threw it back, and I started watching the movie. I'm just sitting back. I'm just chilling, and nothing's really going on. I said, okay. Took another quarter piece. Threw that back. After the first 10, 15 minutes, still not really happening. I try to be patient all the time, but this was not doing it for me. So I took the whole thing that was left and I just dropped it down.
That's what I'm talking about.
About 3.25 minutes after that, I am looking at myself somehow, some way, and I see myself looking at the TV screen like this. Ooh. And this was just, I'm thinking like the movie's repeating itself. I'm thinking, how is it skipping if there's no VHS in here? I don't even have DVDs in this. Like, this don't make no type of sense. I'm talking to myself in all types of different, like, I'm losing it. I'm like, yeah, this is not cutting it for me. I shut the movie off. I went to bed. I'm like, I'm never doing this shit again. Never doing this again. Like, bruh. They told me too, like, you want to take your time with it, but I'm like,
right.
At what point, how long I gotta wait for this, what I'm saying? So I jumped the gun a little bit, and then the gun jumped me. So yeah, that was the time.
I could relate to that, man. I could so we have edibles too, and to prepare for one of the sweaty sessions, I just couldn't wrap my mind on coming up with like the thing for the sweaty session. So I took one, but Char has focus gummies, like just regular focus gummies that has no, it's not an edible or anything. And my dumbass, just like my dumbass doesn't read the DMs, I didn't read the bag.
I don't know.
So I thought it was the focus gummies, but it was the edibles, and I took 2 of them, the whole amount, you know. And the person at the dispensary says, "Okay, if you're not used to this, take a half." So I took 2 holes,
My man.
right? And so I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm coming up with this sweaty session, right?
I'm taking 2 holes before.
And then I'm like, I look up just to think. I'm like, oh fuck, it's like 8:30, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, whoa, shit, I better get ready for work. You know, I got to get my stuff laid out and everything. And then Char calls and she's like, hey, what do you want for dinner? I was like, dinner? It's 8:30. She's like, no, it's 4:30. I was like, why is it dark then? Is it going to storm? And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh shit. Yo, the focus gummies. Are those just what's on the table? And she's like, no, those are the edibles.
Yo.
I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, yo, it's like
Gone. And now you muted.
Muted himself.
He muted himself.
You know, 1966 Batman, where like the villain's room is like slanted. That's how I felt, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude! Like I took the whole thing, you know, like. And she's like, well, what are you doing? I was like, well, it just looks dark in here, you know. And so I was like, so I sat down and I like kind of like calmed myself down and kind of like what Rick said, I started like thinking, but the voice in your head like becomes louder, you know. And
Man.
I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, this probably is gonna wear off. So I Googled like how long does an edible last? And like one edible lasts 2 hours, but I took 2, so that's 4 hours, right? And I'm like, oh fuck, I have the health department coming in tomorrow for work. Like, what if this is not wearing off by then? You know?
Oh my god.
And I started freaking myself, and I started feeling my pulse. But it's like, you know, you hear your pulse, you hear your heart. So I was like, okay, wait. Let me calm down or something. Let me calm down. So then, yeah, like Rick, I just ate and I went to sleep.
I hear you, bro.
I love the fuck out of you guys. Y'all make me feel so like, man.
Yeah.
So, I'm not big into all of that. I before I am where I am in life now. I had a little bit of a wild period, a brief stint. My buddy, one of my buddies, was in the military and came back over, and because they couldn't partake in marijuana, they were smoking what they called spice, and he brought some of that back and had me try that, and the shit almost killed me. I smoked it. He was standing on the stairs. I don't know why the way he was standing on the stairs was so funny, but I started laughing uncontrollably and then started coughing. And when you're laughing and coughing, I completely cut off the air to myself and blacked out. Like literally, he said he was watching me and I'm laughing and I start coughing. And all of a sudden I'm just like,
Oh God.
Jesus.
and then back.
Damn.
So I stopped fucking with that shit.
Damn.
I've gotten really high off some old weed and then gone for a drive in a Corvette, ate Taco Bell, got back to my house, had the spins, and puked the Taco Bell into a oscillating fan that sprayed it all over the wall of my bedroom. Never thrown up from drinking, and I have been like so drunk I had to crawl home from the house across the street through like a ditch and shit. I could not walk, never threw up, got high, puked into a fan.
That's disgusting. Wow. That's nasty.
Well, so what's in the spice? What's in spice?
I have no idea, but again, once I realized that I blacked out from it, like I was like, I'm just not going to touch this shit again. It's not worth it.
Yeah, this must be hella strong.
Listen. I have heard the term before, you know, but I couldn't tell you what's in it. But from what I've heard people's experiences, and this one too, I think Satan's penis is in there somewhere. Because it is just not pleasant
wiener
at all.
It's essentially like it's like smoking incense is what it kind of tasted like.
Oh,
if I remember correctly.
Very strange.
Is that what isn't that what everyone's fighting over in Attack of the Clones?
Spice, yes, the
It's
spice
a different
tree.
kind of spice.
It is.
It's a
Are you
different-
sure?
I had
Are
to
you
bring.
sure?
I had to bring it up. I had to bring it
Yes,
up.
it's something different.
I had to bring it up.
We
I
don't
don't
know.
know. They look like some spice dealers to me.
I mean, maybe. Like, there was a dude in part 2 that was selling death sticks. You don't know what's in that.
Bro, thank you.
And I mean, motherfuckers are smugglers for a reason, Reek.
Yup.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not saying it's not something crazy, but I don't know.
Hey, Will, you had a new experience recently, didn't you?
On what?
With a cold shower.
Oh God, this was awesome. This was the best experience ever. I sent this TikTok to Matt. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna explain it if you weren't, but you're already there, so go ahead.
Okay, I sent this to Matt, and honestly, I sent it to him twice because I sent it to him, and the first time the message sent, I said, "Send this to your wife." And then it told me it didn't go through there. I sent it again. I said, "Look, this is important." It told me it didn't send the first time, so I'm sending it a second time. Okay, and it goes through the science behind how if you get really high and THC goes in through your bloodstream, if you take an ice bath or a really cold shower, it causes your capillaries and stuff to condense, and it causes your blood to flow faster, and it causes the THC to enter your bloodstream quicker.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it was like, so what you do is you take a big bong grip and then you jump in an ice bath, and then you like sit there for a second, and then you exhale slowly, and you let the way it works is it's supposed to like kickstart your high. All right. So my dumbass get stark ass naked. I walk in the bathroom with my bong, and I turn the shower on ice fucking cold, and I take a big ass bong grip, and I hop in the shower ice cold, wait like 30 seconds, jump out, take a big ass bong grip. I hop back in the shower naked in the ice water, and I hop back out, and I take a big bong grip, and I sit there and exhale. You know what? I got high as fuck, y'all. High as fuck.
Will Gray, the science high.
Oh my lord!
So high that I text Matt to be like, "Yo, it worked, dog. It worked."
Yeah.
So like if you had to put it like in a metaphor kind of thing, or like you're like the tea bag going into the cup, because you're going in and out, you know.
I
Makes
don't
sense
know.
though.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
All right, cool.
I have. There's no secret about it. I've partaked in multiple facets of controlled and uncontrolled substances, both illegal and illicit.
You and John are gonna get along great if you ever meet.
But I think my favorite Will Gray story with any type of illicit narcotic was when I was in college, and I was a frequenter of the band Fish and Widespread Panic, their hippie jam bands. I was eating a whole lot of LSD at the time, and I lived in a frat house with 5 of my fraternity brothers. And when I would eat acid at home, I didn't do this at festivals, but when I would eat acid at home, I would end up in my underwear.
Oh my.
Whether I was in my bedroom or I was in the living room or I was hanging out on the deck with my friends, for some reason, I would always strip down and end up in my underwear. We made a coffee table. It was the ranch. Everybody signed it at parties. And on the back, we had a 10-year reunion party. And on the 10-year reunion party, there were like 4 different people that wrote stories that were like, "You remember that time Will was fucked up in his underwear?" So that was my college thing. I would get fucked up in my underwear.
Oh man.
Juss, I generally teabag chins, not cups.
Sure.
Tom's like, "Oh, Will."
What up, Tom? What up, Brocast?
man.
My favorite
Yeah.
Australian brother. So yeah.
I don't do drugs.
Why
So
did you
I'm
give me
having
that look
stories.
when I said Fish and Widespread Panic, Matt?
Because fucking Fish, bro. Really.
Dude, I used to be I was a big Grateful Dead fan. I've seen Dead and
It's
Company.
like the most cliche stoner bullshit, though. Like, that's why I give you that look.
Real quick, Katie, we don't judge over here. The face you just made when you said "I don't do drugs" was the most Karen of all faces I've ever seen you make.
I
It was
can't breathe.
Like, I felt like she was joining Sonya and Chelsea.
It's
Making
like
the trios.
you're. Like,
Oh,
you're
I'm
all
sorry.
a
I'm
bunch of little-
to breathe over here and not be a nuisance.
I felt judged.
Sorry.
I felt judged personally by that.
deeply.
I don't do drugs. Fuck you,
Yeah.
Will.
No, well,
was
to
like-
be
it
honest,
was
to
like
be
that-
fair, I was okay with it. Like, hey, that's cool. That's all right.
It's like that picture that they post of all the people that they have on that like those clothing and stuff like that. They're standing all together like they're all royal and better than everybody and shit. That's what that felt like right there.
It's not.
Oh
It
my
is.
god!
Like I'm
No,
pure and all of
me.
you are just a bunch of sinners.
I felt
Yeah.
like she was texting Reek's manager
What the fuck?
about what kind of
No.
packages he was really delivering.
I hope somebody texts my manager and
That's
tells
okay,
them
Kate.
that I'm on drugs.
I got you, girl.
I hope
Thanks,
they do.
Jess.
Hold on, let me get a hold of Allison real quick.
Nice.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I think Will's on drugs. Hey, I'm on drugs.
I know you're on drugs.
I think we all know.
All right, guys. Anyone else have any more fun stories before we let everyone go? Broadcast, man, we did 2 back-to-back shows. Sorry you missed it, but go back. It was a fun time. Check it out. You caught us in the post show. I have not been to bed, so I'm gonna go do that thing and try and get some sleep and pray to God that I don't wake this child up because this is right about the time she wakes up.
Oh boy.
Fingers crossed.
No, she's awake. All right.
Damn.
So
It's like you knew.
I can hear her. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for joining me. Everyone have a lovely night, and I will talk to you later.
Bye.